are you already using VR, MR, or AR at your work? Just click on the answer that applies to you on the right side, and then you see how many people are already little experts themselves.
Just confirm, can everyone click on it, or show me sad faces if you're struggling to click on it? Ah, okay, I know why. Give me 2 seconds. All right, okay, now everybody trying to click on it. There we go, there we go. Caught inside the stage blocker there, that's why people couldn't click on it. Perfect, there we go.
The numbers are going up. Great. Yeah. Okay, as you can see, yeah, some people who are experienced with the extended reality, their own work, but now have maybe even a more important question for you. How productive are you while doing so? When you are working in the extended reality. Don't worry, this quiz is completely anonymous. I don't see it, what you wrote, so be free in choosing your answer. Okay. Very interesting.
Yeah, the numbers are going up. Has everyone chosen one?
Okay. Now it seems that it's always even, 50-50, productive or unproductive. So yeah, I hope I can change a little bit with that and help you be more productive or to use it more efficiently. Yeah. This question in particular is quite crucial if you really want to work in an extended reality. I guess because you are here at this talk, you are interested in VR in general. But oftentimes use cases can be overrated. So maybe VR is just for enjoyment in leisure time. Sometimes not use cases at fault, but the implementation. Thomas said something about the news, and maybe we all work in the future in the metaverse. I got a different news for you. It was, maybe you already read about it. And this headline had quite an impact. It is also quite devastating. People who program a metaverse don't love or even like it enough to regularly use it. They have to be commanded to work more in this environment. And look like a total disaster, not only to Meta, but to all who believe in the concept of the metaverse. One detail should not be forgotten. I will come back to that later. Managers of Meta had to order the employees to work more in VR. So the question arises if VR at work is doomed to fail? I wouldn't say so. Especially because I conducted an experiment for my thesis this summer, or last summer, even before this headline got published. And as you can see on the lower right side, my supervisor was Björn Wohnkamp, and I really have to thank you again for all your help, not only during my thesis, but during my whole study. You really helped me. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, then let's go back to the actual thesis. I wanted to take a closer look at the productivity using VR within knowledge work. Earlier research ignored the crucial detail. In VR is the impossible possible. You don't have to work in a cubicle within VR. I will do. You have endless possibilities. But to cover this within an experiment is quite difficult. I tried nonetheless. What happens when I give the chance to work in VR to completely different persons? So I formulated a question: obstacles and opportunities arise for productivity as a consequence of office. And in the research for this thesis, I found some interesting possibilities VR can bring. For example, the flow state. I think everybody heard about it. Most of us achieve this state, be it at work, doing your favorite hobby, or while doing sports. The nature of virtual reality suggests that it can be more easy to achieve the state for a few different reasons. Virtual reality transports user into a completely new environment. The environment can be a low distracting one, which helps the flow state. Moreover, the mere action of putting on the VR goggles and using them can be a primer for the brain to know now you are being focused. Now you're not being distracted by anything else. Now in the moment, and this counts. Of course, that's not as simple as that. There are still some other steps you have to take, but it was quite promising research. This would be really beneficial for students. In addition to that, I found it also important to review productivity theories and all of them the connection between the individual and the organization. For example, the NPI theory, which you can see here on the screen. The NPI theory interprets the interaction between the organization and an individual within that organization as two separate signal organisms and response. Because both models are separated from each other, but influencing each other. Maybe you can make a connection to your own work. You are not your organization, but you exist in your organization. The organization influences you, and you are influencing the organization. Other theories, like the process and content theories about motivation, also amplify the link between organization and individual. But they are, of course, more concerned about motivation. However, higher motivation can, of course, lead to better results as well. One thing that was apparent in the research, and I also had some personal experience about it, you should work in general near high. This technology is new to many people. It takes some time to get used to. Some people pick it up faster than others, but in general, you need some time. Therefore, I gave a week to the participants so they can familiarize themselves with the technology. Here you can see the general structure of the experiment. There was 2 weeks for experience. The first week, as I already said, was a familiarization stage, and the second one was the real usage of virtual reality in their actual work. In total, I had 3 interviews with each participant. I was quite lucky to find a few people who were willing to take part in this experience, but they more or less sacrificed a week of work. The software of choice was immersed. Maybe you know it, maybe not. The software enables you to use your computer in VR. You are, for example, flying in space or whatever environment you want to choose. The software, not the holy grail, of course not, but it's definitely an appropriate first step for VR in the knowledge work. Every participant uses it in the same way. Some of them use it quite heavily. Some others use it purposefully for a few tasks. I want to present to you 3 of the participants of this experiment. I was able to recruit a quite diverse group as a student, a brand manager, and a managing director. In addition, the age range is quite big. Moreover, the expertise about VR differs a lot. 2 of them had previous experiences in VR, or the other, and one didn't have any significant experience beforehand. But they had one thing in common. This is also the reason why I was able to recruit them. They are all interested in virtual reality. This is quite crucial. The journey leads every participant went through during the experiment was different. Unfortunately, not everybody was able to get the most. We're looking at these participants. Who do you think was the most productive in virtual reality?
Before we bring up the question, I'm sorry, Christoph, your audio is a bit degraded. Is it possible that you have a different microphone to use? Are you maybe using your computer microphone and could switch to the headset?
Let me look.
And in the meantime, I'll bring up the question.
Everyone, place your bets. Which participant?
I hope no, it's better.
Yes, yeah, that's much better.
I think.
Okay. Lovely. Okay, then let's have a look. Yeah. Okay. As I can see, participant 3, which is the managing director, had the least amount of votes, and after that, participant 2, who works already with VR, on second place, and participant 1 on participant 2 on first place, and participant 1 on second place. Okay, so I will tell you. Music. I'll tell you a little bit about their story in the experiment. I will start with participant 3. He had the most troubles using VR, as you may guess. Despite him having an extra employee and me helping him to set up the program, he was not able to use it meaningfully. He developed some resistance to this form of work and found more and more reasons why it wasn't helping him. The resistance was just focused on this specific use case and not VR in general. So the participant 2, she had troubles implementing the virtual reality because the work was quite demanding and not everything worked on the first try. Her motivation was lowered. Moreover, the virtual reality had slowly exhausted her. She was unable to perform on the same level as usual. Because of this, some sort of frustration was developed. Now to participant 1, she only used it when at home. This helped her to get work on her thesis done in an environment she usually hates to work in and can't work in usually because of all the distractions. She had to use frequent pauses to reduce the virtual reality sickness, but was still motivated. It helped her to achieve the flow state and write a lot more on the thesis. She would otherwise wouldn't have sit down and do it. So, some of you guessed it right. And I don't know on which basis you picked the participant. Maybe you just looked at the most experience in VR. That's not always the best guess if someone can be productive in VR. During the interviews, I was able to dig a little bit deeper into the reasons why it happened like it did. And here are some insights. Virtual reality sickness isn't necessarily influenced by prior experience. Although some training is helpful, definitely, not everybody develops a complete resistance. Motivation is key. You can't implement virtual reality without it. It is affected by nearly everything, and it affects nearly everything. This is really, really important. Implementation, of course, it's also important. Only a successful implementation leads to a positive usage and high productivity. What seems obvious is quite crucial.
don't expect someone to use VR meaningful and they can't fully take advantage of the possibilities. Structure of the workplace and experience individual in VR are important factors in the success of VR implementation in the workplace. Autonomy within the organization and a manageable workload during the implementation are beneficial for successful implementation. For example, participant 1 had a successful implementation due to her prior experience with VR and her autonomy within the organization, which, of course, she only did a thesis. There was no big organization behind it except the university. And this allowed her to set up a lean program efficiently. Participant 2 had difficulties in learning the program while also performing her regular duties, which caused stress and ultimately led to partially successful implementation. However, the success of VR implementation also relies on the readiness of both the organization and the people. Those attitudes and abilities play a crucial role in the effectiveness of VR usage. For example, participant 3 difficulties with the implementation due to her lack of expertise in VR, which led to negative usage and decreased motivation. Additionally, participant 3 had also had a lack of motivation, which negatively impacted the implementation. Therefore, it is essential for both the organization and the employee to be adequately prepared for the introduction of VR in order for employees to realize their full potential in this virtual work environment. In conclusion, working in VR has several positive aspects, like I found in my thesis. Firstly, it allows for a low distracting environment, which can lead to increased focus and productivity. Additionally, the experience of working in VR can be more enjoyable, motivating, and less cognitively demanding than working in a traditional environment. Furthermore, the introduction of VR in the workplace can lead to improved working conditions, increased sense of accomplishment, personal growth, and advancement. Additionally, VR can provide a unique sense of immersion and transport people into another reality, as described by the flow theory. The VR technology also allows for more flexibility in working methods and can be used as a tool to escape the current environment. Overall, working in VR can be seen as a way to improve the overall experience of working and the productivity of the employees, only if the implementation is done right. For the implementation, I can give you a possible guideline how you could lead the change. Potter's H-stage model of organizational change, for example. In the context of VR implementation, creating a sense of urgency, which is the first step you want to take, can be done by highlighting the benefits and potential of VR for the organization, such as increased productivity and efficiency. Forming a powerful correlation with all the employees can be done by bringing together key stakeholders in different departments and levels within the organization to support the implementation of VR. Creating a vision for change can involve identifying specific goals and objectives for the VR implementation, such as increased collaboration and communication among team members, improved workflows and processes, and enhanced employee engagement and satisfaction. Communicating the change vision, and it's also quite important, the change vision can involve education and training employees on the benefits and use of VR. Empowering others to act on the vision can involve providing resources and support for employees to fully utilize the VR technology. Then it's always good for the motivation, creating short-term wins. Can involve implementing VR on specific projects or tasks, measuring the success of these pilot projects, which can be used to consolidate gains and produce more change throughout the organization. And last but not least, anchoring new approaches in the company's culture can involve incorporating VR into the organizational operations and processes and make it a regular part of the way work is done. Sorry. Oh, I'm back. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. I'm not here to give you the one virtual reality program which will revolutionize how you or we work. That's not why I'm here. I'm trying to give you enough information so you can implement the extended reality tools that are helping you or your organizations. Other people might not be able to use the same ones. But it's not about them, it's about you and how you are using it. Extended reality can change how we work, especially if we combine this technology with other technologies with high impact. Take this one, for example. Some of you might remember this little guy, Clippy. With GPT-3 and mixed reality, an improved Clippy is born. And this is just a proof of concept, what you can see here. Imagine what could be possible if it would be done for real. Imagine the possibilities of merging cutting-edge technologies like virtual or mixed reality with the power of GPT-3. The potential for innovation is endless, and it starts, for example, with the rebirth of a familiar face. And it don't have to be Clippy. Can any fully realized virtual assistant. Yeah, you imagine being able to interact with your virtual assistant in a more natural and intuitive way, as if it were a real person standing right in front of you. So from virtual meetings and trainings to virtual customer service and beyond, combining the powers of extended reality and AI, and that's just one example of another very important technology, can truly influence how we work. But as I said, not everybody's solution is the best one for you. And implementing extended reality in the workplace can be a challenging task, of course. But with the right approach, it can bring numerous benefits to both the organization and the employees. The key to success is to tailor the implementation to the specific needs and preferences of each individual employee. One size does not fit all, and it's important to listen to the voices of the employees, understand their concerns, and address them. Leadership is crucial in this process. A real leader is not afraid to take risks and inspire others to join the journey. Instead of demanding compliance, they empower their employees, giving them the autonomy and resources they need to succeed. Managers at Meta made a mistake by ordering their employee to use VR instead of inspiring them. We can learn from their mistakes and be better. The experiment I conducted has shown that there is a genuine interest in working with virtual reality among employees. Even if the initial implementation fails, participants still showed interest in the technology. And from my own personal experience, I can tell you that many people are fascinated by this technology and want to use it as much as they can. They need to learn how to use it, and it takes time and guidance. Don't just show them work that can be done in virtual reality, but also all the other great things this technology can offer, like this right now, for example. This helps employees, or any person, this just doesn't have to be employees, to get used to this new form of experiencing reality. Change cannot be demanded. It has to be embraced and nurtured. Following, for example, Kotter's stage model, and by providing the necessary resources and support, we or any of us can successfully implement extended reality in the workplace and realize the benefits it has to offer. Yeah, thank you for listening to my talk, and I'm open to your questions.
So let's show some emojis. So we communicate. That was great, Christoph. And I did say to you before about wondering if AI would come into it in ChatGPT, and of course it would. Thanks for that. I was taking a lot of notes myself, especially the 8-stage model, because I think that's very important for sort of implementing XR tech and sort of getting people on board. So I definitely took note of that as well. So I'm gonna open up for Q&A now. 2 seconds to do that. Right, so now everyone, you should be able to raise your hand if you have any questions, and I'll get round to you one at a time, and give you the megaphone so you can ask your question. Don't be shy. Feel free to jump in with questions. I found it quite interesting. You mentioned the flow state as well, and sort of VR and immersive technology really helping to get into that flow state. And I think as a sort of a virtual reality world builder and building experiences in platforms like Horizon Worlds, that, you know, going from 3D modeling in a 2D platform like Blender and then switching to do it in an immersive environment like Horizon Worlds, the flow I would get in that flow state so much more and so much quicker. And using the program might have actually taken longer to create models, but I'd take the headset off and it would be nighttime and my whole day had gone and I hadn't realized because I'd just been in flow building something. So I can definitely see how, as well as the friction, the friction's always there. Like, we can't be sort of naive to what is there, but like being able to get in that flow state and that productive flow state in VR is just, yeah, it's incredibly powerful.
Yeah, definitely.
Feel free to raise your hands, anyone. You have any questions?
Well,
Anybody?
I have a question for you. If Thomas would be so nice and put it on the board. It is quite a simple one. If you want to use extended reality at your work,
Interesting. We've got one no so far.
okay. As I said, doesn't have to be. Don't want to force something like that. But yeah, the yes number is definitely higher than the first question I asked. So there's something.
Yeah, it's a good sign. No, I was wondering if it would be 100% on the yes, and interested to hear the perspective of the one no, actually. So if the one no wants to jump in with a hand raised as to why not, that would be interesting to get their perspective on that. I think I've sort of having a conversation with a lot of, I think I explained to you before, actually, Christoph, sort of what I'm doing with the work with VR and therapy, speaking to therapists, and counselors. And as you said, with the 3 participants, when you're speaking to sort of the older generation of counselors and therapists, as a general rule, they tend to be less interested or perhaps less excited about incorporating that technology in their work. And to some degree, there's almost an active resistance towards the idea of it, like their defenses are up to begin with. But I've had conversations with those people who started like that and ultimately ended in them saying, you know, actually, now that we're talking about this, I can kind of see what, you know, who this would work well with in terms of my clients. Like, yes, it's not going to replace what I do, but, you know, this having an immersive environment where people can engage and get into that flow state and use the technology to communicate how they feel is very beneficial for, you know, perhaps 1 or 2 of my clients that I work with. They'd find this very useful. So it is interesting. There is that general rule of kind of, it seems more likely that younger generations will be willing to adopt the technology. But also there is, when you really sort of, you know, dig into the value in this, it kind of also, like, older generations as well are more willing to accept that there is some benefit to using this as a tool even now.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I think we have a question. I missed that on the. There we go. Okay, Gerald. I don't know if Gerald, you might be our one no, actually, Gerald. Sorry if it's taking me so long to get to you. I'm going to give you the megaphone now. There we go, broadcasting.
Yeah, Christoph, thanks for your words. And could you explain us a little bit more why you choose immersed as VR office, as office environment, and why you did not choose, for instance, Glue or Horizon Workrooms or other programs?
Yeah, of course, I
Thanks.
can do that. One reason why I chose immersed was it is quite easy to install it on Windows or Mac. But I choose a program which is more focused on the just working on your computer and not collaborating. Collaborating in VR is a whole new topic, and it's really beneficial. And there are also a lot of research done on this particular field. So I choose subject which is focused on the individual work. So in this particular field, immersed is really good.
And
It also has some tools to collaborate. At least in the last few months, they improved on that a lot. But at least back then, it was more focused on the just you and your work.
Yeah, could you compare for us immersed with Horizon Workrooms? From my understanding, you could even choose Horizon Workrooms to bring in your PC into the workroom, like at immersed, right?
Exactly, you could do that. But one problem you will then facing is you only have one monitor in front of you, and the environments that you can work in is limited. You have like 3 different environments, and each of those have different color schemes, 2 different, I think. But in immersed, you can freely choose your environment. There are a lot of more options. You can float in space. You can be on the ISS. You can be on a mountaintop. You can be underwater. And yeah, that's one of the huge differences.
Okay, great, Christoph. Thank you very much for your answer.
Yeah,
You're
great
welcome.
question as well. Yeah, I think the Horizon Workrooms is, from my experience, is much more limited, less sort of creatively inspiring as a workroom. Cool, right. Thanks for the question. We have another question now. Just going to take the microphone from you there. Frau M. Let me just I'll put you on air and give you the microphone. There we go. So we should be able to hear you now, Frau M. If you want to ask us a
hello.
question.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Christoph, for your presentation. It was me who said no. In case no one else is want to take the blame. And the first reason is it pertains to the cumbersomeness of the headset. I mean, after 10 minutes of having it on, it's just heavy. I've tried the Oculus, and it's not comfortable to have it on for longer periods of time. So there's that, which makes me not so keen on using it for work reasons. And the second reason would be probably because of my my particular field of work, in which just doing all the online meetings on Zoom or Teams and whatever else there is just equally fine. There is one aspect of the VR meetings which I enjoy, and I discovered in participating in the VM People X Talk series. The sound quality is lovely, and it's very nice to be able to talk in groups. And as soon as your avatar goes away from one group, then the sounds sort of fades in the background, and then you get to another group and the sounds keeps increasing, which you, of course, you cannot do in any Zoom type of meeting. So yeah, these are my reasons. But yeah, thanks again for your presentation.
Oh yeah, welcome. And the reasons you said are totally understandable, especially if it's just tiring to use the headset or the goggles at your face. I mean, the Oculus Quest 2, it's just like a toaster on your face. It's can be really exhausting.
No,
And
I
there
was saying,
are
legit concerns.
luckily, oh, sorry.
No, I think there's a delay there. Carry on. You speak. I won't speak over you.
Okay. But luckily, the development of those goggles improve and improve and improve. For example, the VR goggles from Apple, which I think are not official release yet, but there are some leaks. And those look really lightweight. It's no way compared to the Quest 2. So maybe you can give it a try in like 1 or 2 years again.
Yeah.
Yes, hopefully the technology improves.
Yeah, I think we were saying about this earlier, but you can't sort of be naive about or overly romantic. There is the friction's still there. The technology is going to be improving. But yeah, it's not a replacement. I think some people we've had here before, haven't we? I think we were talking about X nights, and at one of the talks, someone said, this isn't going to replace sort of live music events when we had sort of the DJ event afterwards. And I don't think it's trying to replace it. It's an extra tool that in its current state might be more beneficial with some people than it would be with others. And I think the great point you pointed out there was the spatial audio. Like that for me is huge, from jumping from sort of Zoom calls with lots of people in to be able to be in this environment, break off into a conversation and overhear someone talking about something that I'm interested in, just out of earshot, just slightly out, and then moving into that group and saying, oh, what were we talking about? Like that is something that I think is really powerful about this. And I think those kind of things are going to be things that are honed in on. And a great book I can recommend actually, which is called Virtual Society, which I read recently, mentions the importance of sort of focusing on psychological fulfillment when creating these experiences and these platforms over the immersiveness, right? And I think things like that, little touches like that, are important to hone in on when building these platforms and creating these experiences. So great points there as well. Right, I can see Thomas on the side there.
So I guess we don't have any more questions, so that's why I showed up here to thank Christoph. Thanks very much for sharing your insights, and also thank you, Liam, for managing the stage. And of course, thank you to you all for coming. Thanks especially to Frau M, who is obviously a serial visitor of our talks. I want to encourage you to come back in February, where we have our next X Night. This will be about innovation, German innovation, and the question how to shape a metaverse economy. This will take place on February 9th, and it would be really great to see you again. If you would like to talk to Christoph in a one-to-one situation, you can stay here. Christoph, I guess you will be around like for another 10 to 15 minutes. If you want to talk to Liam about his experiences in using VR for work purposes, or myself, you're welcome to stay here. And yeah, thanks for coming.
Right, everyone is unmuted, so feel free to come on the stage or just talk amongst yourselves.